Today we're taking a look at 3 types of blitzes that you can use in your 4-2-5 defense. I'm going to talk about this from the standpoint of the 4-2-5 or the 4-4 defense. It's the same structure as the 6-2 defense as well. It's 4 down linemen, 2 guys on the outside that are force players, 2 inside linebackers. It's all the same. This is every defense. This is blitz basics. This is basics of blitzing, basics of fire zones, basics of man blitzes, how you use and how you game plan your blitzes. You don't want to go into a game with 5 of one type and none of the other. In your game plan, you want to have these blitzes, the ones that you need, and use just a couple of each one that you need, or 1 or 2, because we don't like to carry a bunch of blitzes in our game plan. We want to carry a maximum of 3, what we call exotics, and then we can have our base blitz package. But the exotics, the zone blitzes, those types of things, I try to limit those to between 1 and 3 in a given game plan. So let's go over the board and take a look at the 3 types of zone blitzes. And I will tell you, I'm going to be showing you some examples. There's also going to be a free download that you can find in the description here, and it's going to give you this, which is a nice little printed out sheet with all those blitzes on there. So if you want that, the link is down in the description. It's also the cheat sheet that I'm using to draw up while we do this. I'm going to start out of a 1 high shell. I like to play a lot of cover 1 and cover 3. We can do all the different stuff. Now, I will mention that a lot of 4-2-5 defenses, and we'll do this kind of depending on how much of the split field coverage we're doing, and we're going to look at some 2 high looks here. A lot of 4-2-5 defenses will call the front strength to the tight end, but would call the passing strength to the twin side, to the 2 receivers. And so your strong safety and weak safety would be switched. That would change up some of these blitzes just a little bit. But again, we're mainly looking at the concept behind each type of blitz. And so we're going to look at 3. And the first one is a inside blitz, an interior blitz, or a lot of your double A-gap blitzes, anything that's sending multiple players or even just one in between the A-gap, B-gap area, in between the tackles. So the one that we're going to look at first is going to be a double A-gap cross blitz. Now, I like this because we're going to pick the center and hopefully get our will linebacker running free. It's not only a great passing stunt, it's also a good run stunt for teams that are trying to run between the tackles to the strong side, which is a lot of teams. We're going to have our our weak side end off the edge. Nothing special there. We're going to cut the nose. The nose is in a 2-eye, and we always just say align to perform. So we may call over front, but he knows I've got to get the B gap, and so he's going to line up as if it were G front, and he's going to get his way into the B gap. Now, we would want him to attack the shoulder of that guy rather than getting wide here, but we're going to get these 2 guys here. End is the contain rusher on the quarterback. The nose is going to be an interior rusher. We're going to get the tackle running what we call a slam technique. And the slam technique is something mainly for passing downs. It's more important in that he's going to slam the hip of that tackle and work for width, because he's got to be the contain rusher on the quarterback here to the strong side. Now, you see a lot of teams that are, college and NFL, and they may not do all of this. They may just tell the guy, hey, you're going to rush, and when you recognize pass, you're going to get outside. Well, our guys are not always going to be that well taught. We go both ways. They don't get that much time working on this stuff. So if we want them to be the contain rusher, I'm going to put them in a position to be the contain rusher. So we use this slam technique. Our Mike linebacker pre-snap is going to walk down. He wants the center to see him. He wants it to look like he's coming into that A gap. And then on the snap, he's going to pick the center right through the center's face. He wants to pick that center and carry him into that A gap. He wants the center to pick him up. We expect the guard to step out with the 3 technique. Our will backer, who will creep over just a little bit pre-snap, he's going to come in the other A gap. And so that's our 5 rushers here. So we've got our 3 interior rushers. We've got our 2 edge rushers to tackle in the defensive end. Now, the strong end is going to be still playing the run. So he's going to attack. And this is probably the hardest thing when you have limited amounts of time with high school kids to get these defensive ends to do, because they're so excited when it's a zone blitz and they're going to be dropping that they kind of forget to defend the run sometimes. And I see college and even NFL players, although they have the athleticism to recover from it, forget to do this sometimes too. He's going to step and attack that tight end. Now, the good thing about doing this with the tight end there is he's going to strike, and if that tight end pass releases, then he's just basically going to release with him and he's going to work his way to the inside. He's not going to do that curvy line thing. He's going to drop off to the inside, and he's going to be your low hole defender here. So if that tight end run blocks him, he's going to stay up there. He's not going to drop. The tight end gives him a release, okay? Or you can strike the tight end and visual key the tackle for a pass set, however you want to teach that, and he's going to drop to be the low hole dropper here. Main concern is going to be the tight end because he's the immediate threat across the middle. We're going to have the strong safety playing curl to flat, weak safety curl to flat. Now you can get real complicated with this, pattern read it. I like more zone blitzing when we're using a pattern read coverage as our base. And so, when we're using more cover 3 and cover 1, we're going to do more man blitzes. If we're using more pattern read, pattern match, it's easy to say, hey, you're a 2-to-1 dropper. So this guy would be a 2-to-1 dropper, dropping on 2 and then moving to 1 as 2 leaves his area. So if we were to get something where 2 was running inside, he would be dropping to pick up, say, a slant or something from outside. So he's a 2-to-1 dropper, and the end is looking for anything coming across the middle. We don't get that complex. We're looking for the pressure to cut down the timing, and I don't want to confuse our guys on something we're not going to call that much. Again, time sensitive here, how much time we have. So that's an interior blitz. Really good job of getting the will backer free in that A gap if you get the attention of that guard. Okay, our second blitz is going to be a single edge blitz. So we've talked about middle blitzes in between the tackles. Now we're going to get a single edge blitz. Single edge, we've got a kind of a too high look here because we're going to rotate the safeties. Again, this is one that I would use more if we're playing a lot of cover 1 and cover 3. I would use it more as a man blitz. If we're using more of the too high pattern match, split field type of stuff, then out of the 4-2-5, this can be used as a single edge zone blitz. Defensive end coming through C gap. We're going to cut across the face of the guard into A gap with our tackle. Our nose is going to now be running the slam technique. He's in a 2-eye. He could be in a 2, and it depends on athleticism. And again, he's going to want to slam the hip of that tackle on his way out. Our defensive end, just like the strong end was doing before, he's going to come up and attack. Okay, if he reads pass, tackle pass sets him, he's going to drop his way off into the low hole. I like to use the ends and the defensive linemen in the low hole in the middle because we don't see a ton of action across the middle. Most of the passes that we see are hashes and out. Okay, so that's why we're going to use the defensive lineman in the spot where we don't see that much action. Where our single edge comes in now, this is going to be like an America's Fire Zone blitz. We're going to have the Mike backer coming through the B gap and the strong safety walking up the show a little bit, coming off the edge. So your strong safety is your contain rusher. You can see you've got an overload. You've got an overload here. The will backer would be the guy that's responsible for that A gap now. Okay. I don't love that because of the fact that we could end up with a little too much space for the will backer to cover A gap and then get to the flat. It's tough. But you're kind of rolling the dice. I wouldn't like it against this formation, against this set. And again, I would run this more than likely as a man blitz, but you can run it as a zone blitz as well. And you can make some adjustments to fix that problem as, too. So it's not like you have to do it this way, but just talking through some of the concerns that we can have with it. So our will backer checking for run, obviously, and then he's going to be the hook to curl. The free safety and the weak safety are going to kind of creep over during cadence. The free safety will be the hook to curl player over here. And we got 3 deep and 3 underneath zones out of our fire zone here. So we've got a single edge, overload pressure, kind of an America's Fire Zone. Another way that you could do this, as far as your fronts that may clean it up a little bit, is to line up in an underfront. Probably easier to do without a tight end in the game. Okay, so we get in that underfront and we can walk the safety up late in order to disguise it still. From this, you're using kind of the more traditional America's Fire Zone techniques. We've got the slam technique by the nose out here. We've got a cut across the nose, across the center's face by the tackle. We get that long stick by the defensive end. If the guard turns to him, he crosses face. If the guard goes down, he's going to bend down the line of scrimmage. We've got the Mike and B gap and the strong safety off of the edge. That does clean up the problem with the will backer. and the A gaps will be sealed off. So that's probably a cleaner way to run it, is to use that under front. I like that with no tight end in the game. I don't like it as much with the tight end on the field. All right, now the last one is going to be a double edge. So we've got our middle blitzes, single edge, and double edge blitzes. And that's basically the three families that all of your exotic blitzes are going to fall into. And exotics are just anything that's not your base one linebacker, Mike backer go type of thing. Anything that you're going to need to spend some time teaching. Fire zones generally are going to fall into that exotic category. And so what we've got here is going to be a double edge. Now, what a lot of people will try to do when they hear double edge is they're going to bring the weak safety and the strong safety off the edge. That leaves a problem, because if you've got anything other than 21 personnel, you're going to have some issues with who's going to be man coverage on who, or who's going to be a zone dropper. You're going to get backers to the flats. So I don't like to do that. We're going to use a man coverage in this instance. So we're going to be locked up on our corners. I like more double edge blitzes out of 3-4s and 3-3-5s, where I've got the 3 down linemen and I can bring guys from different places, get the 2 high safeties. A little more flexible, but we can do it here. I'm just going to make a slight adjustment. And again, run it as a man blitz. We're going to bring our nose into A gap, our tackle into A gap. I've got them lined up in an Indian front. They don't have to be. They could be lined up in an over front, but they're pinching into the A gaps. We're basically pinching our ends as well. Okay, pinching through, running through the hip, really running tight here, because we want to get everything condensed down tight inside so that we can get our edge blitzers off the edge. Now, what we're going to do is pretty predictably bring the strong safety off the edge. Now, he is going to need to be the contained rusher here. Okay, he is going to need to be the contained rusher here, in that don't let anything out. You may want to blitz peel him, especially if you've got a situation where your Mike linebacker is not going to be good at running with that running back. So if the R tries to peel out of the backfield, you may want him to pick it up and run with it or eliminate that route. The will backer pre-snap is going to walk his way up, and then he's going to be the contained rusher on the edge, so that my weak safety in this situation can stay in the rush or in the coverage on the number 2 receiver. Free safety will walk over. Of course, we would want to disguise this pre-snap. Free safety will walk over. He will be responsible for the Y. Our Mike backer, again, if you want to blitz peel your will and your strong safety, they will handle the R if the R flares, and the Mike will be responsible if the R tries to run through the line of scrimmage. And obviously, we do have an open gap here that he would need to be accountable for in the run game, so we can't bail him out anywhere. So that's it. That's a double-edge blitz out of the 4-2-5 defense. Again, using cover 0, but we're bringing 6, trying to get pressure on them immediately. All of these things clean up a lot if you're facing 21 personnel, but when you're facing 10 personnel, 11 personnel, it's tougher to make sure that everybody gets covered when you're bringing these guys. These are just 3 examples from each of the different families of blitzes. So whether you're doing fire zones or you're doing man blitzes, 4-2-5, 3-4, 33 stack, 4-3 defense, it doesn't matter. Your blitzes basically fall into these 3 categories. You have interior blitzes. They don't have to have crosses. You can just bring 2 guys into A gap, or a guy in A gap and B gap, or however you do it. 2 guys interior. You have overloads off an edge, and then you have double edge blitzes where you're pinching into the inside with your interior lineman, and then coming off the edge with somebody from the outside. 3 different families of blitzes that you can use. And as I mentioned, the ones that I drew up here, you can get this little, come in focus. You can get this download. The link is in the description if you want to have that for your records. All right, so get to work putting together your blitz package. Don't go overboard with your blitzes. Use blitzes that you know you're going to be able to use in your game plan. And when you put together your game plan, only use the ones that you're actually going to need. You don't want to spend a lot of time practicing blitzes that you're not going to call, and you don't want to call blitzes that you haven't spent much time practicing, because that's how you have really bad breakdowns in coverage and gaps open, all those kinds of things. When you try to get too complex, too fast. If you enjoyed this video and you want to get more from Joe Daniel Football, make sure to subscribe by clicking this button up here. And over on this side, you'll see a couple of other videos to check out from JoeDanielFootball.com. That's it. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like and share and click on that link below to get the download.